Well, here we are again, sitting in our August end of summer. We hope not. Radio Entrepreneur Studios. My name is JDavis, and we continue to add stories to our library of entrepreneurship and leadership. Our next guest is Nathan Rosenberg, CEO and co-founder of Farmblox. I'm lucky I saw that L, not box. Uh, I read the write-up on your company and I found it very intriguing. So why don't you describe it to our listeners? Because it is we would never have talked about something like this just 3 years ago.
Yeah, so just to put it very simply, we sell devices to farmers and they put them out in their fields so they can monitor everything that's going on from their phone. So farmers typically spend, you know, most of their time, like 75% of their time, just going out to check on the simplest things like, do I need to turn the water on? Is my gate open? What's the weather like? Um, from their phone. Saves them tons of time, but it's very simple.
Uh, I'll be a little selfish if you don't mind, Nathan. My wife has an organic garden where she's growing vegetables. Uh, is that
Very cool.
overkill to look into your website for her?
It might be a little overkill. I mean, we're definitely going in that direction. Right now, we're doing some very large, actually, maple syrup farms in the Northeast, Vermont, Canada. But we are going in that direction to help, we call them prosumer gardeners, large scale gardeners to automate their operations. So
I think you should add a scarecrow option. So if the groundhogs and the rabbits get into my wife's garden, it goes boo and they run away.
yeah, yeah, no, I know a lot of farmers would like that too.
You think about it, that's true. That's always a problem. So Nathan, you're not that old, but let's go back into the Wayback Machine. How did you sort of evolve into this type of business? What's your background?
Yeah, so my background's actually in robotics engineering. And so the genesis of this company actually came from a different company that, it was basically a big pivot. In senior year of college, where I met my co-founders, we were doing this company called Growbox. It's basically 40-foot shipping containers, that you see on the back of semi trucks, with robots growing stuff, on shelves. We realized that the sun is actually very efficient at growing things. And so if you have to pay for that, that's not really a great business model. So we pivoted from that. We learned a lot in the process of how current farms operate, their struggles and whatnot. And so we really technology that we developed from that business and packaged it in a way to help existing farmers really save labor.
Interesting. Uh, the whole field of robotics is changing. Why did you pick
Yeah.
this area? Was there something about your background that made it so, I have an interest in it? Did you have an experience?
Yeah. So, in high school, I worked on a farm up the street. I grew up just, in the woods outside of Seattle on the West Coast. Don't hold that against me. Um, but yeah, so the guy who started the farm was like a small organic farm. He went to agricultural school. He was, using all the latest techniques. And, it was still super, super hard work, just to go do the simplest things. Turn on the water, check to see what the state of the crops are. And, I think that stuck with me through college. And we went kind of the complete other direction, automation wise, with that previous company. But yeah, so that's really where it started, is in high school.
So how are you bringing your product or service to market?
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing. So farmers buy based on trust, which is what we've learned over the years. And they buy from their neighbors, really. That's really how the market works. Their neighbors or their supplier that they've been working with for years. And so to get into that space has really been interesting by partnering with very, well-known farms, specifically in the maple syrup industry. And then they, talked to their neighbors and then they called us and it was sort of an organic process. So now we have multiple distributors across New England, one in Canada. But starting out is really getting that trust from the neighbors of farmers.
Well, I think it's interesting. I lived on a farm when I was younger for a full summer,
Really?
and they work very hard. And the weather conditions can create a lot of problems for them, as you know. And today, it seems like weather is it's less predictable than ever before and more mercurial than ever
Yeah.
before. So I assume this app is trying to help them build more consistency and a more consistent crop.
Yeah, yeah. So we're really focused on labor. So if you ask a farmer what their top two problems are, of course, number one is going to be weather, right? Can't really do much about the weather. I mean, if you could, that we would be, in a different place. But number two is labor, right? You can never find people to help on the farm. The average age of a farmer is just shy of 60 years old, which is kind of a terrifying fact. And so, we really help them kind of save labor, turn one person into two. But yeah, so if you don't have to go walk out there to check on things, you can catch problems days, weeks before they affect yields. And so that's how we help on that side of things.
Have you found that there are certain regions of the country or types of farmers that are more susceptible to adopting to your new product?
Yeah, so we really go based on crop type. So our beachhead market is maple syrup farms, Northeast. They're basically think of, thousands of miles of tubing strung throughout thousands of acres of woods. Um, it's a lot of work to go check to see if there's leaks on all of those, but their whole operation is basically one big manufacturing facility, if you will. So we're starting there. They're very tech, adept and interested in new technologies. And then we're moving out to vineyards and orchards in California. So vineyards typically love to be on the cutting edge of technology, especially the ultra premium ones, where it's $100+ a bottle. And then orchards, they have a big water problem, right? They have trees that need to uh, last for 30, 40 years in the middle of California where it's a desert, basically. So they need a tracker to make sure water is being used properly.
So I understand the vineyards, and I could see the logic of that. And you did say a little bit about Canada, but for those who don't know, Quebec sells more maple syrup than the rest of the world combined.
Yeah.
So I assume, but that can be a tough market to enter due to,
Yeah. Language
language
barriers. Yeah.
laws.
Yeah. So they're actually just over 70% of the world's market of maple syrup production. And of course, they speak French. So fortunately, we do have a native French speaker on our team, which has been very helpful. But we are working with a distributor up there who sells traditional maple syrup equipment. And so they're taking care of all the Canadian sales for us. So DSD Stars, if anyone's interested.
Very helpful. We've been speaking with Nathan Rosenberg, CEO and co-founder of Farmbox. Uh, Nathan, if somebody wants to get hold of you, how would they find you?
Just farmblocks.ag.
Well, that's pretty easy. And we hope as you progress with Farmbox that you'll come back and visit us again on Radio Entrepreneurs. You'll be part of our family.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Great. Remind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.